Hello and welcome to today's webinar with reference to Electronica 2020. My name is Florian Marcus. I'm a digital transformation advisor at the e-Estonia Briefing Center, and today I will be your moderator for this live session. We will talk about how to innovate the electronics value chain to compete in a new world, and we've got several exciting companies and organizations present. We will talk about that, however, a tiny bit later. First of all, we will have a small introductory speech by one of our very good partners, the cluster manager for Eastern Bavaria at the Cluster for Mechatronics and Automation, Johann Schenkl, who will welcome us from Germany, where Estonian companies would have liked to take part in the Electronica 2020 conference trade fair today. So, Johann Schenkl, the screen is yours.
Welcome to today's webinar. It's an honor for me, Johann Schenkl, Cluster Manager in the Cluster Mechatronics and Automatization, to take over the introduction to the webinar of the trade fair Enterprise Estonia and to welcome all of you. The main task of the cluster is networking, to bring companies together, universities and institutes. We are located in Germany, Bavaria, but we are also networking as well within international founding projects. How and where does COVID-19 hit us, the CMA? For sure, wherever we bring people together. This networking we do is due to communications events like cluster treffs or workshops. It's as well when we do cooperations regarding technology or problem focused. When we do qualification, very famous is our Mechatronics Academy, and we do as well international project and activities. So isn't a fair as well a huge networking event? I had looked and did a quick research and found some numbers. So I compared Electronica 2018 to 2020. 2018, we had around about 80,000 visitors. 2020, 8,000. When we look at exhibitors, 2018, 3,000 exhibitors. 2020, 209. Looking at countries, 101 in 2018, 25 in 2020. This leads to the question, does today's fair format really fit to the challenges we are faced to? Innovative solutions are welcome. Let's start.
Well, thank you very much for this introduction, and of course you mentioned the numbers. They are a bit different for this year, but also we can see that several semi-independent webinars have grown out of this organization for Electronica 2020, and this very event is certainly one of those. Today we will actually hear presentations from companies like Krakul, Incap, TepComp, Testonica Lab, and the Estonian Electronics Industries Association. But before we start with the presentations, let us take a quick look at today's virtual event platform called WorksUp. There are several things that I would like to focus your attention on. Number one, there is a Q&A button where you can ask questions to the different people that will hold presentations right on the stage and virtually as well. You can ask your own questions, and you can also upvote the questions of other people if you really want to hear the answer to that particular question as well. So please do participate either actively or passively, regardless of how you prefer it. The second thing is that we also offer a networking possibility. So by clicking the profile tab on the bottom bar, you can check the information seen on your profile and define also your interest. With whom would you like to be connected? Who would you like to be in touch with? And so on. Lastly, there is also a chat function where you can get in touch with different people that share the same interests as you, because we really want to help create synergies through this webinar as well. We also have 13 companies in the exhibition area that are ready to talk to you about what their company could offer to you and your environment. Just click on the Expo button in the bottom right corner, and that's where you find all the different companies represented today. But now I will give the word to Jan Henrik Murumets from Krakul. He will be talking about making IoT and autonomous systems human. Let's take a look.
Hello, I'm Johann, the CEO of Krakul, the leading IoT and autonomy development company in Estonia, here to give an overview of how we make IoT and autonomy human. Starting with numbers, Krakul was founded in 2013 and reached a milestone of 1 million euros in revenue last year, while being completely self-funded. Our projects span the globe, with deployments in over 30 countries. We are focused on partnering with long-term IoT and autonomous systems projects, working almost exclusively with products requiring hardware to fulfill world-changing business objectives. Krakul offers a full range of services for realizing projects in our chosen fields. In short, we are a one-stop shop, from idea to prototype to manufacturing. Our lovely team consists of 13 engineers supported by a lean management team. Our mission is to make tech human. Krakul strives to be more than just a hardware development company. Our core values are integrity, cooperation, and being human-centric. Technology for us is a means to an end, a chance to make the world a better and more livable place. We work as a versatile and flexible technology provider, tailoring the development process according to our partner's vision, business goals, and how the end user interacts with the product. A great example of how we work is with GER, where we created the world's first IoT bottle opener. GER approached us with an idea to make a bottle opener for home use, with the end goal of gathering data on beer consumption straight from the customers. The plan was ambitious, and we had numerous calls and visits during development, bonding, and manufacturing. At one point, we had to fly out on 2 days' notice straight to Vietnam to fix an issue. During development, we started realizing that the product has a much brighter future as a B2B product rather than a B2C one, thus targeting bartenders, not consumers, directly. So the idea they initially approached us with was not the end result, attributed to our flexible approach to development. Together, we created a social platform where GER.io gets useful data from every bartender using our bottle opener, and bartenders get useful data about trending beverages, also allowing them to be connected to their customers through GER.io's social media app. Today, over 11.5 million bottles have been opened with our bottle opener, and GER.io was named one of the best Swiss startups of 2019. Before I finish, when choosing a partner, we always follow some guidelines. First, we always make sure that our values align with our partners, and we have a similar vision for the product, so we will speak the same language. We also prefer working as a flexible design partner who works on a long-term basis, so we are able to tailor our development according to our partner's current situation. Direct contact for us is most important. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for this short presentation about what exactly you do. Eine kleine Nachricht noch, natürlich sind unsere Untertitel auf Deutsch, sodass auch unsere deutschsprachigen Zuschauer dabei sein können. But yeah, overall the discussion today will happen in English, and I'm very glad that you're here. We've got questions from the audience as well, and I encourage you to keep doing that also. The first question for you would be, what is IoT for you personally?
For me and for the company as well, IoT really is all about enabling new markets and services that have never been done before, gathering data from places where it was unfeasible before.
Do you feel like it gives less developed countries or developing countries an opportunity to catch up with the rest of the world? Do you feel like that's a sort of boost forward for them?
Yes, definitely. I think as was the case with Estonia only a couple of decades ago, really investing in this new infrastructure today is going to give a leg up in the future.
So how exactly can you help those entities, countries, regions, and so on, go in these directions? What exactly do you provide with this area?
I mean, it all starts with figuring out what is like the what are the problems for the users, or where can value be generated, and then really harnessing the power of technology and IoT into finding the value, or getting the value from there.
Yeah, absolutely. Another question from the audience. Do you yourself use a bottle opener?
Funny story, actually. No. But I think that's a cultural thing.
Please don't say table.
No, never. Only phones.
Very good. Has anything changed for you and the business during COVID-19, or do you feel like it was comparably unaffected by this?
I would say it's really opened up a lot of new avenues for business innovation, because as the landscape of the world changes, so must our expectations of what can be done.
It seems like more and more people realize that digital services and products are no longer nice to have, but rather actually integral part of life, and we need to treat it as such. Absolutely. Well, Jan-Hendrik, thank you so much for being with us. And we are switching over to our next presentation, which will be done by Otto Richard Buck and Greg Grace from Incap, and they will talk about agile, flexible, and efficient electronics manufacturing services. Let's take a look.
Hello, everybody.
Good morning. My name is Greg Grace. I'm Managing Director of Incap Electronics Estonia.
And I'm Otto Buck. I'm the President and CEO of Incap Corporation.
Incap is a trusted partner and full-service provider in electronics manufacturing services. We manage your manufacturing while you grow your business. Our job is to ensure that you as our customer get the best possible support through the entire manufacturing value chain, from product and process design, to manufacturing of proto, to mass production, to financing, to sourcing, logistics, and so much more. We're a strategic production partner.
We have more than 50 years of experience in the field of electronics, 1,300 great co-workers around the world, and we have been listed on the Nasdaq Stock Exchange since 1997. We always try to see to that we have the latest technology available for our customers.
You can find our electronics, for example, in aviation, automotive, power and energy, medical, Industry 4.0, everywhere.
And we are so much more than just a manufacturing partner. Our services are very wide, everything from prototype to mass production, up to different engineering services with process and product design in focus. Our cornerstones in the strategy is growth, profitability, and operational excellence. We operate our organization in a decentralized manner, which means that always the different stakeholders meet with the decision maker.
Our investments in operational excellence include high-quality technology and the know-how of our people. Our customers appreciate that Incap is efficient, is flexible, and agile, that Incap takes everything and lets the customer focus on design and growth. We go that extra mile. And if I talk about Incap going the extra mile, I'd like to tell you a story about Tavi. Tavi is our production manager. And we had a situation where the components were going to be late, would have shut down our production line and shut down our customers' supply chain. So Tavi got on a plane, flew to Korea on Friday, turned around and came back on Saturday. We produced in time on Sunday to get the delivery out on Monday for the customer. And that shows you a little bit about the extra mile that Incap goes for you.
So to recap, we have a unique business model with a decentralized structure. That means that our partners and stakeholders always meet the decision makers. We're more than just a subcontractor. We're fast and we have flexible solutions.
We have state-of-the-art production setup and we love what we do. Incap rocks.
Well, thanks to both of you so much for being here. It's great to have you on stage, and thank you also for that short presentation. We've got a couple of questions for you, actually. The first question is, what is the average lead time for prototypes in your organization?
It of course depends very much on the product and the prototype. But we have turned around prototype cases with less than a week if needed. And I wouldn't say that the prototyping perhaps is not the most important part. It's how fast we ramp that later up into mass production that matters, because time to market is very important for our customers.
Absolutely. And what is the average age of your SMT lines? Could you tell us more about that?
Yeah, we talked about the technology advance that we have in our factory. To keep our competitive edge, I'm proud to say that our SMT line's average age is 1.5 years. So we have state-of-the-art technology. We also have a technology rental setup, so we update that and continue to update that to keep our competitive edge and offer you the best services.
That's how I know and love Estonian companies personally as well. Could you tell us more about perhaps your plans to expand? Do you have anything in mind, any sort of time frame that you can tell us more about?
No, we are always looking at growth possibilities, both organic and inorganic. And I think there's plenty of opportunity out there. Electronics we put in more and more things around the world, and so the market itself is very much growing. And we see also here in Europe and in the world there's a consolidation going on. So I think there's plenty of opportunity, and you have to wait and see.
Absolutely. Can you tell us a bit more about your key markets right now? Sort of an overview, regional, continental?
Yeah, if we talk about the Estonian factory, then we have clients in Germany. Our home market is Finland, Estonia, Sweden. North America is also quite a big part of our sales. I think 18% of the revenue last year went to North America. So we ship worldwide. As a matter of fact, we produce in Estonia and ship to China.
There's actually a question about Germany as well. So the question is, do you have a representative in Germany? I guess the answer is yes, or?
No, currently we don't have anybody in Germany currently, but of course we work with the German market, and we have people who cater for that from Estonia.
And you also have German speakers in the company, I assume. I feel like every single Estonian company has at least one German speaker.
Yeah, no, we have both German speakers, and even in our UK factory we have native Germans as well. So it's, I think language will not become an issue.
Absolutely. I can speak as a German myself that I think many German companies appreciate this personal contact, that people understand the cultural, like the small details and so on, and can converse in the native language as well. Well, thank you so much for your time, and we are switching over to our next presentation as well. It will be done by Kimmo Akjander and Jonas Söderlund, and it will be about EMS electronic manufacturing superheroes, and they are representing TepComp Group. Let's take a look.
TepComp Group is a leading Finnish industrial contract manufacturer that has been operating since 1985. As a contract manufacturer specialized in electronics, we have been focusing on LED electronics, healthcare technology, and industrial electronics. Based on more than 30 years of experience in demanding projects, we have become a pioneer in the field. In addition to numerous Finnish companies, our customer base includes many international companies from a wide range of industrial sectors. TepComp's production plant in Turku operates in a high-quality and professional manner through all stages required for production of modern electronics, from SMT placement to mechanical assembly and cable manufacturing. The plant is known for its flexible operation and modern manufacturing technology. Our clients are used to quick and responsive service by the Turku plant. The modern TepComp plant in Kuressaare, Estonia, offers comprehensive electronics contract manufacturing services in a cost-effective manner. The plant's SMT line also allows for production of long PCBs. Our advanced soldering robot ensures persistent quality. In addition, we provide mechanical assembly services. We offer small and medium-sized series in a cost-effective manner. We have a customer who has been with us since the birth of their company and even before that. It all started from a proto work for a small company. After a while we noticed that the person who has asked for the proto has founded his own company and remembered our good service and ability to react fast. That was a start of a success story where we have had pleasure to be part of. After the prototypes for the new company, we created the first sample batches for their sales and helped them to build up a first real production batch. Orders started coming in and we did everything according to their orders. Quite soon it was already noticed that this is not fast enough for increasing demand, so we helped them to build up dedicated stock at our premises. Soon we were already responsible for full supply chain from sourcing to manufacturing and the final user logistics. So, everything from the components to the final sales package in the hand of final user. This is really a story about a technology company we helped to grow from start to over €10 million company without having to worry about the scalability of production or renting a warehouse and hiring own logistics people. Do you want to be the next growth star? Challenge our superheroes and see how you can achieve similar success.
Good morning, Jonas, Kimmo. Thank you very much for joining us online. I believe on the other side of the Baltic Sea, if that's correct. I hope you're doing all right. Thank you very much for this introductory video about what exactly you do. We actually got a couple of questions already from the audience about what TepComp does, but I want to start with something that concerns your personal opinion a bit more. In TepComp's view regarding the trend of moving production from Asia to the EU, do you think that's an overall trend that's happening? How do you view that trend in the world?
I can take that one. I would definitely say that it's a global trend, and it's been going on for several years. But last year, out of what's been happening in the world, it's been accelerating, and I think that there are several reasons for that. The cost difference between producing within the EU and Asia is lessening year by year for various reasons. The closeness to market is becoming very, very important, especially within the high-tech medical field and industrial field. So it's important for the customers to be able to ship fast, and of course it takes longer time to ship from Busan than it takes to ship if you're from Estonia to Germany, as an example. So this is a trend that's been seen for quite a long time that actually is accelerated very rapidly, in my view, the last year. Actually, I've seen a lot of it.
Thank you very much for that quick overview. How has COVID-19 changed the work that you do, the goals that you set for the future as well?
Kim, should you take that or me?
I can take that one. And thank you for the possibility of being here. And a small correction to earlier part. We are not from the other side of the Baltic Sea, but we are around the Baltic Sea. So we are joining you from both Helsinki and Stockholm now.
Yes.
Yes, we see that the COVID-19 has made the business environment quite challenging, and that is mainly because the forecasting possibilities for customers have really gone to the zero. So we just need to be more agile and act faster. And that we have been able to do to our customers. It requires a lot of extra work for getting materials and so on, because the forecasting process is not working that well from customer side as it used to be before the COVID-19. Of course, the COVID-19 has also opened us a lot of new opportunities with healthcare equipment related to both the hospitals, etc., and also for the testing of the COVID-19. So we see that it has changed the world mainly because it is hard to go to face-to-face to exhibition and so on, but for the normal everyday work what we are doing with the manufacturing, that basically hasn't changed at all. Of course, we are one of the companies who have learned more efficient ways of having the video negotiations and so on at the moment. So I see that more as an opportunity than a threat.
Me too.
Interesting that it gives you the ability to branch out like that. One final quick question as we're nearing the end of our Q&A. What is the difference between the TepComp sites in Turku in Finland and Kuressaare in Estonia?
I think, Kim, will you go with that?
Yeah, I will answer also that question. We launched a new SMD line in Turku this summer, and I can proudly say that we have most probably the most advanced SMD equipment in the whole Finland at the moment. And that is very fast and cost-effective line, and all the automated work are done perfectly with the 100% quality and quickly with the reasonable cost in Finland with that machine. And that includes also certain part of the through-hole components that can be done with the same line. When it goes to more handwork, more to final assembly and small serious work, then the Kuressaare would be always the perfect possibility and opportunity for our customers.
Interesting. Well, thank you so much for that insight. This is sadly all the questions that we have time for today, but thank you so much for joining us through the internet as well. We are heading over to our next presentation already. It's done by Artur Jutman. He's the Managing Director at Testonica Lab, and he will talk about embedded instrumentation for test and measurement. Let's take a quick look.
Hello and welcome to my brief introduction to test technologies which we are developing at Testonica. This year our company celebrates 15 years of uninterrupted innovation. Our products have a solid base in technology which we call embedded virtual instruments. It is an invention that we patented back in 2013. This technology has found its way into over 100 solutions installed in 23 countries around the world. Traditionally, electronic products are tested using external test equipment, which is costly and bulky. This equipment is driving the signals to electronic products as well as measuring the response. This way of testing is not anymore sufficient, as it is unable to catch certain defects and signal integrity issues right inside the product. For this purpose, we place our embedded instruments right inside the chips to be able to catch these hidden issues. Using embedded instruments, customers can quickly catch defects and faults in production, as well as identify issues with their prototypes and streamline lifetime support and maintenance in the field. In order to improve the user experience, we have developed and delivered the world's first instrument synthesis clouds. Using these clouds, customers can combine different embedded instruments together and compile a ready-to-use instrumentation core for their target product. Our technologies and products have a solid base in research and development. Our company has collaborated and coordinated a number of European research projects. We collaborate with universities as well as we give jobs for PhD students. We publish our results at conferences as well as we sponsor leading conferences in the field. Our equipment is also installed at big scientific facilities, like for instance beta rate tester is installed at Large Hadron Collider at CERN. Our smart instruments are ready to fly to space, where they should help onboard computers to adapt to damage, to catch faults and defects, right on orbit, and help the electronics survive the pressure of radiation in space. We love solving problems, and we will be happy to help you sort out your everyday testing tasks as well as complicated quality issues and testing challenges. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much for being in the studio with us today. We've got plenty of questions, actually, that came up over the last few minutes, so let's get right into it. So you invented virtual embedded instruments, but do they also exist in reality? How would you describe that?
Right, so we all know about virtual reality, but virtual instruments is a specific term that is used in the test and measurement field, and basically our virtual instruments are pieces of software or firmware that are populating a product, and they are used for testing for defects and validation of the electronic product, actually.
Okay. Does embedded mean that I have to embed your instruments already during the board design, or can that also be implemented later?
Good question, actually. No, embedded instruments would be embedded during the testing phase. So they populate the ready-made board, the ready-made product, and they would be used for, as I said, testing and validation. And afterwards, when this is done, the embedded instruments will actually be removed from that. So they simply disappear. So they don't remain in your product, and they don't basically create any security threat, or they don't occupy valuable space basically in your product or something like that. So
sounds like an easy-to-use solution.
Exactly, yes.
Do you have any examples of how your instruments solved some weird customers' problems?
Right, so we have a couple of interesting cases where we were able to use the instruments-based functional test to identify issues in, for instance, in material, in the component material. Like, for example, we had recently a customer testing communication equipment, and they placed tantalum capacitor instead of a ceramic capacitor next to a PHY, and just by functional testing we were able to catch this problem, basically. So that's one example.
Saves a bit of money as well, doesn't it?
Exactly. Yeah.
I'll combine two questions here. Number one, in which countries do you work right now, and where would you like to see your products in the future?
Right. Well, most of our customers today are in Europe, mainly in Scandinavia and Germany. We have very good expansion to Israel these days, very successful. We have added US as the new market with a new representative just the last month. The weakest side for us is actually a local market of Estonia. So we don't have, basically, we work through a sales network. And since we are more like a technology development company, we develop things and we rely on sales network. So from that perspective, the Estonian sales are the weakest for us. So we would like to expand on that.
So what is your plan for the next 5 years? Do you want to, I mean, beyond the Estonian market, is there any other target that you want to get? So you mentioned the US as well.
Yes, of course. Asia is something which we really want to go forward to. This is definitely, and also Southern America is. These are two territories which are currently uncovered.
Do you feel like COVID-19 has affected the workload, the interest from the clients at all, or do you feel like it hasn't affected you so much?
Right, this it didn't affect in the negative way, certainly. So we had to, how to say, rearrange our processes. We moved to online operation, to running webinars, demonstration over the web, and actually compared to what we did before, like personal contacts, face-to-face meetings, a lot of traveling, today we're sitting from the comfort of the office, and we are able to do much more these days compared to what we were able to afford during the normal life age, I would say. But of course, I'm missing a lot the personal contacts with our friends and colleagues. Yeah.
I think it's fair to say that it's a bit of a trade-off, that in a way you can have more efficient information exchange via an online meeting, but yes, the personal touch might be missing a tiny bit. But I'm sure that this will also not stay this way forever. So we will see our clients and colleagues again, I'm sure.
Absolutely, I hope that. Yes.
Wonderful. So you mentioned that you're active on the German market.
Yes.
Do you have a German speaker in the company? Do you have a representative in Germany? How exactly do you serve the German market?
Right. In Estonia, we have in Germany, we have a strategic development partner for technological development, and they also talk directly to customers. They have their own customer base in Germany. And we are also talking to some companies to act as distributor and engineering representatives for us.
Well, Artur, thank you so much for your overview, and thank you so much to the audience for all the questions as well. We will slowly move on to our next presentation, which will be done by Arno Kork. He is the Managing Director of the Estonian Electronics Industries Association, and he will tell you more about what exactly they do and how they do it. Let's take a look.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Arno Kork, the Managing Director of the Estonian Electronics Industry Association, and I will give you the brief overview of our electronics industry. First of all, where is Estonia? Well, Estonia is really strategically located in the northern Europe on a major trade route between East and the West. And despite being a Nordic part of Europe, we are delivering globally, even to the United States, which is our biggest trading partner today. We have digital society here. We have public services all digitized. We have excellent infrastructure which has been tested by the foreign attacks. Our people are digitally literate. We have high level of education and technical literacy. Our students have been on the PISA top 3 for several years. Our electronics industry here is small but powerful. It's 23% of Estonian exports with just 12,000 people. And we're roughly doing 2 billion euros of turnover, most of it exported. Our key sectors are all professional, such as telecom, we're doing base stations for 5G, industrial electronics for windmills and all green electronics, automotive electronics, medical, railway, aerospace, defense, and other professional segments, also components. We're doing things where the quality matters, as promises must be kept, and delivery times are really the key. Over 250 companies, many of which are familiar to you, Ericsson, ABB, world giants. Over 25 AMS companies, engineering companies, and support functions. We are not the newcomers in electronics. We have over 100 years of history, started with telephone production in 1907, producing all sorts of electronics during Soviet times. We had complete industry overhaul in the 90s, and now we're world class. We used to do cell phones by the tens of millions. Today we're doing electronics for North Sea fishermen. We're doing electronics for robots, which are delivering pizza in US campuses. We're doing electronics for many other segments of the industry. Our association has over 70 members, and we cover all aspects of industry value chain. We can be a single point of contact for all customers, suppliers, partners, and investors. We know people in the government, we know people in other organizations, associations, we know people in the industry. So if you have any contacts, needs, if you have any questions, just contact us. So what can we offer here? We offer world-class EMS services in professional segments, over 25 companies providing manufacturing services. We have engineering and after-sales services here, so we can design your product, we can build it, and we can also service it after it's delivered to the customers. We're a perfect test site because we love new things, we can be fast and agile, we can install new things and we can try it for you. We're resilient. Even during the COVID crisis in the spring, we're working. Our factories never shut down, they worked through the summer and they're working now. So if you need any electronics to be built and developed for you, just come to Estonia. Thank you for your attention.
Well, Arno, thank you so much for being with us here in the studio as well. And I can only agree with you that Estonia is an extremely agile place, very fast forward thinking. You've shown in the presentation also the delivery robots and so on. There were self-driving buses in Tallinn already. So there's a lot of future-mindedness, I think, instilled in the Estonian people. We've got actually several questions for you. The first one would be overall, you referred to COVID-19 already in the presentation, but how exactly did it affect your operations or not at all?
Well, I guess COVID affected everybody in the world. But one good thing about Estonia is that our industry was never shut down. We worked through the spring, the first wave, we worked in the summer, and we're working now with the second wave. That's, I think, very important for our customers, but also for our employees and also as a tax revenue for our government. We certainly were hit by certain problems in supply chain, especially in spring. There was some issues on the demand side, some deliveries were perhaps postponed. But it was also a great opportunity because many companies discovered that having supplier close to their market or close to their R&D is very important. And we see a really big influx of requests for quotations nowadays in our companies. People want to move production to Europe, and we are one of the best locations for that.
I would certainly agree with that. What are your plans for 2021? Can you tell us a bit more about that?
It's very difficult, of course, to predict the future now in uncertain times. We had great plans for 2020 as well, and they were hit. But it looks now that we will match the last year's turnover overall in Estonia electronics. For the next years, we are optimistic because even during the crisis, our companies kept investing. Some companies bought new lines, some companies expanded the production area, people are hiring engineers, technicians, operators. So we are really well prepared for the growth which we expect to happen in 2021.
Something that you will see both with the Estonian government and also the Estonian private sector is that they are very conservative money spenders. They will invest very wisely, but they will always have enough pocket change in the bank in case something bad happens. Estonia runs one of the smallest deficits in the entire European Union, and the same is true for many of the companies as well. Which countries would be the biggest partners for the Estonian electronics industry? Could you tell us more about that?
Well, of course, everybody is trading with the neighbors, first and foremost. So for us, the Nordic countries are very important. However, for the last 3 years, the United States has been the biggest market for us in electronics, which might sound surprising, but then again, the world is rather small nowadays. Yeah. And we are shipping everywhere. US is one location, but for example, our engineers are doing designs for companies in Japan, in China, also in India and so forth. So we are rather global nowadays. It's really, we're not anymore local players, we're global players.
I think Estonia has certainly arrived on the global stage thanks to its IT and also electronic solutions, both sort of in the digital and the physical world for sure. What do you think other countries can learn from the way that Estonians do their work, the way that they approach projects? Is there anything that stands out to you about how Estonians do their things?
I think one thing comes from our size. We are a small country and we don't have so many people, so we had to learn how to do a big project with small teams, because we don't have big teams in the first place. So we have to learn how to be efficient, how to be fast and agile and get things done with what we have.
Yeah, absolutely. It's actually one of the smaller fun facts about Estonia. Many people think about Estonia as a rather small country, but I would argue it's a very big country in terms of population density. We're actually sitting in the world comparison just between Brazil on one side with the big and empty Amazon rainforest, and on the other side with the United States, where again there are lots of empty places in between the bigger cities. So it is certainly true that in Estonia the teams are consisting not just of specialists but also all-rounders that all know exactly where the entire team is going. So I think this also helps the communication and the agility of how Estonian companies do their do their work. Well, Arno, thank you so much for being with us today. And once again, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for the questions that you forwarded to us, for the upvoting as well, and in general, your attention and interaction. Be sure to contact the companies that have done their presentations today and the associations. Be sure to get in touch with them if you want to find out how they can help you, how you can create more synergies and cooperation, both in Germany and elsewhere in Europe and the rest of the world. And please also make sure to visit the exhibition area and get in touch with your fellow audience members, because I'm sure that you can also get in touch with many interesting people there that might be able to help you on your journey and your projects. For the time being, please stay safe, stay at home if you can, and have a wonderful time also with other webinars connected to Electronica 2020. We will show a final Trade with Estonia video at the end and wish you a wonderful weekend.